Hey, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live session. I cannot tell you how excited I am about it. I'm Allison Peterson, and I'm so glad you're here. So tonight we're talking about don't doubt your calling to coach. Friends, this has been on my heart for a while now, and I am so glad that you are coming to hang out with me tonight. So if you are catching this on replay, go ahead and drop me a hashtag replay because I know a lot of people will be watching it over the Thanksgiving break. It's perfect. Just go ahead and comment and interact with me like you were live. Your comments are the best part of a live session. I have had so many thoughts about this recently, about you and how you're feeling as a new coach, and it's really been on my heart. And so I felt like we need to get on together. We need to talk about it. We need some encouragement tonight. So I hope that you have come for some encouragement because I have some to bring you. And I am thrilled to be able to do it. So you let me know that you're here. Say hi in the comments. Introduce yourself so that I can see you. For those of you who are new to the group, I'm Allison Peterson, and I'm the founder of this NewtoCoaching group, and we are over 10,000 members. Like, this has just gone out of control in some ways in the way that it has grown. And it is an amazing community of coaches, friends. If you are a brand new coach and you've just walked into this group and you've just found us, like, you've hit a gold mine. Like, it's amazing. The resources are so great, and everyone in the group is so encouraging. And so tonight is all about really capitalizing on the opportunity to come together as a community and encourage each other. Like, I need you to encourage each other. I'm going to be up here encouraging you, and I need you to encourage each other. My dear friend Michelle Ruiz is here. Hello, sweet friend. She says, I need this session today. I'm so glad you're out there. It's so encouraging to see you in the comments. All right, y'all are going to have to be patient with me. I brought my coffee tonight. Michelle Ruiz and others. There's Casey. Will love that I brought my Breakthrough Circle coffee mug. On this side, I'm trying to spill it. It says make change happen. Really turn this off. It says make change happen because that's what we do here in the NewtoCoaching group. We talk about how you can become a make change happen coach. And we do lots of encouragement, which is what we are doing tonight. So you being in the comments, hey, Casey. Hello, friend. Hello, Rosaline. And tonight we're going to talk about how to keep you encouraged in this journey as a new coach. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more of my story. I've shared a lot of my story here in the NewtoCoaching group, but tonight I'm going to tell you even more about it and how it all has come together. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my calling to coach and encourage you with what I have learned about calling. And I really am excited to share some of that. What I've been seeing in the NewtoCoaching group, and when I talk to coaches one-on-one and coaches one-on-one in virtual settings, and in the group, in my Breakthrough Circle group. And what I have heard is that so many coaches are in discouragement. And I hate it. It absolutely breaks my heart. And it is why I started the NewtoCoaching group. I don't want a single new coach to be in discouragement. I want you to be breaking through from that. But so many are in a real place, and it's for different reasons. But the thing is that if you just started coaching either this fall, or if you maybe are in it a year and you're still trying to hang on and you're just not getting there yet, it is easy to hit this place of feeling lost and lonely and discouraged. And it is, I want to encourage you in telling you that it is normal, but there is so much that I can do to encourage you through it so that you can have a breakthrough as well. And I'm going to tell you my story of how I have been lost and lonely and discouraged. But when I saw that, I hear a lot of coaches saying, hey, I'm not sure I made the right decision. I think I need to go back to the classroom. And really, I just also want to be clear on there's nothing wrong with going back to the classroom. But I do encourage coaches to think about why they want to go back to the classroom. And if it's because they just feel like they need to escape how hard it is to do coaching, because coaching is hard and it's a totally different position, friends, than teaching. And it's so hard. So that's why I want to catch you right here in this transition from classroom to coaching, because that is the hardest part of all of this, is the transition of this teaching role and your teacher position that you were in, and then moving to a totally and completely different role. And it seems like that transition should just be like a summer, right? Like from the school year ending to a new school year starting, that's your transition. You're in, and now you're a coach, and you are technically, but there is so much to learn in this new role and so much to embrace in this new role that it's not that easy. And this transition period is not just the 2 months of summer, friends. It is at least a year, if not more. And that should hopefully encourage you, not discourage you, to know that like you're not crazy. If you have not gotten it right and feel like you got it in the first 4 months of this job, then I just want to tell you it's okay. It is okay. All right. So you took the word out of my mouth, lonely. I'm not a teacher. I'm not an admin. I'm not middle school. I'm not high school. I'm not arts. I'm not academics. You are all the things and you're not all the things. And I think that is so true because that is part of the lost and lonely that happens. Friend, user, Facebook user, who I can't see your name at the moment, but is that you end up going from a place of security and clarity and knowing what you should do because you've been a teacher for a long time and you've kind of mastered teaching in a way, and not that we can't always grow, but mastered teaching. And then you go to no man's land where you kind of own nothing and you have no authority and you really aren't being given any direction. And so everything really just feels like lost and lonely, and you're stuck in this weird no man's land of like, you don't belong anywhere. And when you are not sure of that, then it's this idea of like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. I don't even know why I'm here. That's true. Probably 18 months for me, Michelle said. And that's encouraging. Okay. So let's talk about this idea of calling. Okay. This is what we're really anchoring to tonight. I'm really wanting you to let go of some doubt, but to re-anchor you to your calling. And so I want you to think about, I feel better already knowing this way I'm feeling is normal, 100%, and a part of the journey. But I want you to think about the thing that drew you out of the classroom. Okay, I want you to put some meditation on like, okay, this is the thing that made me want to do this. What made me want to come out of the classroom? And that is what we will kind of lean into tonight about this idea of calling. And what is it that drew you out of the classroom? I think that because you had this call to come out of the classroom, this tug on your heart, this thing you really wanted to do, this thing that you were excited about, that you think that maybe everybody else had that same thing. But I think after you got into this role, you realize that not everybody else is like you. And that maybe this calling thing is something that was really actually unique to you. Not every teacher has a calling to come out of the classroom and support other teachers and do the next big work. And often I hear coaches describe this as making a bigger impact. I wanted to come out of the classroom because I wanted to make a bigger impact. And this is so what I hear, from coaches around this is this idea. If we start identifying calling, it usually comes out in that language. So I'd love to hear from you, like, what is it that drew you out of the classroom? Because that's where we're going to start. I'm going to start telling you a little bit of my story and my kind of call of thinking about coming out of the classroom. And sometimes I'm shy to tell you all this. I'm be honest, like super vulnerable. I wasn't a teacher for very long. But it is because when I was teaching, it took me very little time to get this call, this feeling of wanting to help other teachers. And so I was in the classroom for 8 years, which compared to some of you is like, nothing compared to 20 years or 25 years in the classroom or even 15 years in the classroom. But I knew so soon in my journey that I wanted to help other teachers, that I was the one going to PD and turning around and telling everybody about it and getting excited and being like, oh, you should try this. And, it started with that work of just sharing what I was learning. But I realized so quickly that like, wait, I want to do that. I want to go and help teachers do their work. And this thing I learned about teaching, it's so cool. I have to share it with somebody else. And so I started taking on teacher leadership roles in my school, and that kind of gave me the straddle position of like coach and teacher at the same time. And I know that a lot of you have that situation. I've heard from a few in the group recently who have said like, what do you do if you are teaching and you're trying to coach and you don't have enough time to do both? And how do you do that? And I don't really have great answers because I just ran around like a crazy person during my planning to go downstairs and help fifth grade because we were implementing a new curriculum and I was trying it in my classroom and I was inviting them. And so I was coaching way before I even knew what coaching was. And it all just felt like this bigger thing that I could be a part of, this literally a call and a tug on my heart. So I want to hear more about that from you. I wanted to share my passion of literacy with more teachers to make a bigger impact on students. That is often the that's so great. That's wonderful. Okay, how do you change your name? You're going to go to StreamYard, like a stream and then yard.com/Facebook and just open a new tab, type that in. It'll like approve you really quickly. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle Rui. Having a coach who coached me while I was starting that role changed everything for me. You are so lucky. There's so few coaches who have had a coach. So that is amazing that you've had that. I'm gonna take a sip. That is me. I'm still in the classroom and I'm trying to coach, and it's so hard. It's so true. It's so true. But it's also kind of where I learned my very organic approach was like the only minutes I had was at the copier in the hallway and at when the kids were out at recess. Those were the minutes I had to coach. And so I just had to coach in between everything. And that's how I figured out how to do the organic approach. I was a grade team lead for second grade team and realized how much I love supporting them and the students. So this is what happens. You have this moment of like, I like doing this. And I so remember, y'all. I remember this water fountain moment. I was standing, my classroom was right next to a water fountain. And I was standing there and I was talking to another teacher. And I don't even know exactly what was going on in the conversation. I just know that at some point in the conversation, we were talking and I looked at her and I went, I want to help teachers. And it was that moment where I was like articulating what I wanted to do. And I didn't even know that I knew that I wanted to do it. I just said it. And I remember standing there at the water fountain being like, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do. And honestly, it happens that way. You don't even realize that this is your desire. A calling can sit really deeply inside of you, and it can be something that wells up and is hard to articulate and hard to give words to. And so I'm sure that even as you're trying to type it out, you're like, look, I don't even know how to explain this. Oh no. Oh no. I never thought I'd end up in a school again. And I found a role where I could be at a school working my passion, but my relationships would be different. Oh, I love that. I'm sorry that that happened, but I'm glad that it brought you back to coaching. I really, truly am. So I felt that tug, but at the school I was at, I did not have an opportunity to step into a coaching role beyond the teacher leadership role. And there was a position open. They hired somebody else. And at first I was, my heart was broken over that. Like, wait, I should have gotten that. I was clearly the person who was already doing this work internally. Shouldn't I have been the internal hire? And even though I've had tons of time to reflect on that because it's been 10 years since that happened. So I've been a coach for 10 years now. I didn't even say that. So this is my 10th year out of the classroom. But since that happened, I've had a lot of time to reflect. And I realized now that it was just a part of the calling. Like I didn't get the job at that school, but there was another school that I was going to get to go to. And that was what was all being orchestrated. God was orchestrating all of these things for me that I didn't even know about. I didn't even know where I was going with this calling. I just knew I wanted to do something bigger. Intern at a local college and loved it. Math interventionist and a mentor for new teachers. And I started pushing into classrooms and helping. I realized how exciting it was to do this kind of work. This is so true. I love it. I love to hear your stories. Keep bringing the stories. And so then I moved into, this calling led to me really realizing like, well, if this opportunity isn't going to show up at the school I'm at, but I know this is what I want to do, I felt like I needed to look for the next step. And honestly, the next step was already kind of being orchestrated, but after calling comes stepping. Once you have that calling, and that thing on your heart, something led you to step out. So you had the same thing, right? You had an interview, you had an opportunity show up, you had somebody tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I think it'd be great if you were interviewed for this position. Or maybe you went hunting a different district, a different school, you were looking for something and you found this way that you were going to say, like, I have this call on my heart. And I am going to say yes to it. I'm going to say yes to it. I'm going to step into it. And I'm going to take that that big leap of faith. Like, I know that all of you who took this leap of faith, like, felt like for a minute, like, this is am I making the right decision? You were thinking that before you did it, right? So it's that moment where you knew it was what you wanted, but is this the right decision? And I certainly know from the conversations I've had here in the coaching group that the mixture of excited and nervous about this step into this new role is real. I have coaches from anywhere and everywhere who start their journey say that they're excited and nervous. They're excited because they know they're stepping out in their calling and they know they're doing the right work, but they're nervous because, oh my goodness, I don't even know what this job is. And it sounds really different than coaching. And they explained it to me, but I'm not sure they're going to give me a job description, right? Does that all sound right to you? So, like, this combination of fear and faith has to happen when you step into a calling. And so many of you have done it. I mean, you are literally, you have done this. You have gone from the call to the step, and you have taken that first step into this new role. And so that's where you maybe are right now, right? Okay, let me see what we got here. 5-year plan. It just happened 5 years early than I expected. I love it, Chrissy. I love that story. I love it when it's unexpected because God doesn't work in expected ways. He works in unexpected ways. We did that one. Okay. Hi, Tara. Okay, wait, we did this one? No. Okay, long year resident, entered through the alternative certification program that gave me some confidence. I want to coach so that I can help teachers and positively impact more students. Good. This is so great. So you have to keep your calling in the center. And we're going to get back to that as we get through the story. But you take the big leap of faith. It's a mixture of faith and fear. And you're trying to figure out as you go, right? And so I did this and I moved schools. My husband and I actually work at these schools that we've been to together. And he got a new opportunity and it just truly fell in our laps. And they also had an academic technology coordinator position open, which is a fancy way of saying ed tech coach. And I was so excited. And I've told this part of my story before because I was so excited and I was ready to do the work and I was ready to get started. And so quickly, y'all, so quickly, I was hit by terrible resistance. Like, I have this story that I tell about this one second grade teacher who blew up at me at a PLC meeting, literally yelling about second graders using iPads. And I was ready to quit, just like you are right now, right? I was ready to quit. I was ready to hide under the table. I was ready to never go back to work. I was wondering what in the world I was doing, thinking that I could do this job. And that is the fear and the thing that happens with stepping, is that's what we were afraid of. We had faith because we knew we were supposed to do this big work. This idea of like, I know in my knower that I'm supposed to do this work. I know I'm supposed to do it, but I'm afraid it's not going to go well. I'm not going to do it right. Someone's getting mad at me. Like, all the things I was afraid of, they all happened like within the first couple of months of coaching. And so when you are taking this leap of faith and you do the stepping, then you get to the working. Let me see if I can get this slide to change. Okay. So this stepping out in faith and this moving into the next phase, which is like, okay, so now I'm in this situation and I am now in the working phase of the situation. And the thing is that the work is hard. It is hard. Oh, I love you, Nicole. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Stay in the comments with me so I can hear your thoughts, friends. It's so important. The work is hard. And I know you already have run into it. You've probably run into your own yelling second grade teacher about whatever she was yelling about. The resistance is real and it's very common. And if it's not resistance, then it's overwhelmed teachers. And if it's not that, then it's the admin giving you a certain direction that seems to be like, wait a second, I didn't know this is what I was signing up for. The other thing that happens is the disconnect between what you thought this job would be and what it actually is. And this feeling of like, I thought this was going to be different. I thought that I was going to be able to get in and help teachers. I didn't realize that they weren't going to want me to help them. This is a big part of it. The work is definitely hard. It's all the things you've just mentioned. I know. I'm so glad y'all are out there. Don't give up on this. Don't give up on this. Be encouraged by this conversation. The work is hard. And I'm going to see what else I was going to share about that part of my story. The resistance was everywhere. That's what I was going to say. The resistance was everywhere. And it was all of the doubt. All of the doubt comes in right here. Okay. Did I make the wrong decision? Am I good? Can I do this job? Just all of the things that start to settle in that make you feel like you're not good enough. And you're just assuming and you're quickly wondering if everyone is looking at you like, what is she doing here? And you're doubting yourself, friends. And this is the part of the work that goes with the call. I think we get to this point and the work is so hard and we hit a wall that we forget a little bit about the calling. And we start to doubt the calling part of the whole thing because I must have heard wrong. I must have thought I was supposed to do this and I'm not actually supposed to do this. I must have thought this was going to work out. And I think I need to go back to what I know because this is not what I thought it was going to be. And that is a very shocking feeling when you start this new role. And even if you've been in it for a year, I've had coaches who've been in it for a year or more who are still like, this is like trudging through left foot, right foot, just trying to move forward. Why is it so hard? And some of the things that we have to think about and remember are that you're transitioning from classroom to coaching. And so when you were in the classroom, you had the ability to, and I'm going to say this word lightly, okay, this is not a bad word, but control the things around you. Your classroom management was part of your job, and managing and controlling children was part of your job. But when you move into the coaching role, you don't have any control, and you're having to let go of all of that control that you had before. And that actually puts you in a really, kind of shocks your system a little bit because you used to be able to control things and the way they were going. And now you have teachers who are making decisions and who are saying things to you. And you're like, why would you do that? And you can't stop them. And this is a very difficult thought. Okay, sweet Nicole, like God whispered our whole conversation to you. Oh, he might have, because this definitely came from him, friend. The teachers that assume negative intent have crushed my spirit and made me doubt myself. This is such an important life session. I know. That's why I'm here. And that's why I'm struggling through with my coffee. I'm sorry about my voice. Okay, so important. There should have been a vision of the job at the district level, communicated more clearly. That is always so important. The vision missing. This is year 2 for me, but I feel like I'm just getting feel for the role. My biggest thing is, why are teachers not understanding that I get it? Yes, that is so true. Like you've done this for 25 years. You're on their side and they still don't feel it. Why is that? No longer having control is hard to swallow. This is a huge piece of it. And so the work, the other thing that happens when we're working, and I did this myself, absolutely tried to control it, do it all myself, figure it out, think through that. But the thing is that we try to strive forward and solve this and do this work kind of like out of our own power. But one of the things that I was really reminded of is one of the verses that I anchored to as a teacher that was really helpful for me. All right, do the will of God with all of your heart. Work with enthusiasm as though you are working for the Lord rather than for people. God has shown me that this idea of working is twofold. It's you working with enthusiasm for him and for the calling that he gave you. And so that is an important part of this, is that I think we're trying to do this work, one, to like show other people that we're valuable. Like, look at me, I'm valuable. I can do this. I am good at this work, even though you feel like a complete imposter the whole time. And not realizing that like we're supposed to be doing this for him and the calling that he gave us, and that he will equip us for the work. And then this is the other side of working, friends, is that you do the work for him, but he is helping you do the work too. for God is working in you and giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. This verse has been like a career verse for me. I would say a life verse, but kind of a career verse, because it first came to me when I was teaching. And I realized that I really wasn't as equipped to teach as I thought I was. And I realized that like God is going to help me learn how to be a better teacher. Well, it was the same situation when he called me from teaching to coaching, then he was going to work in me to do this and give me the desire and the power to do his will. And I'm sharing my faith with you tonight because I think it is such an important part of me telling you my story. I can't tell you how I did this without telling you that this is where I went when I got stuck. And the working part of the calling is when we are doing some work, but if we are trying to do it by ourselves, then we are missing a component. And it's probably why we're feeling overwhelmed and discouraged, is because we're thinking we can do it all by ourselves. But this is not this. You have someone who is working with you, working in you, working through you. And I think that that is such an important part. It's my favorite scripture. I keep it on my desk every day. I love that. They dismiss all of our years of experience, but Allison is right. Once those relationships are solid, it makes all the difference. Oh, yes. I'm coming back to Ephesians 6:7. That was Ephesians 6:7, and then Philippians 2:13, and then I have Galatians in a minute. I definitely think there's a disconnect for teachers who are still inside of the four walls when it comes to understanding the position of the academic instructional coach. The thing that happens often in the working phase as well, and when you've moved to a new role and you really don't know the role, you don't know the true intent of coaching yet, you're just kind of being told what to do by your admin, is that your admin is probably positioning you in the wrong way. And I hope that you've had an opportunity to talk through with your admin, like what your role should be. And I have some content on that to help you with it. But often, admin is putting out fires, friends. That's what admin is doing. They're worried about the fires, and they see you as an available, competent person who they think should go help put out fires with them. We love our admin, but they are focused on certain things. And fires are things like RTI, student support, and especially teachers who need fixing. And so if you're being sent over to those places, or even leading PLCs can sometimes be in this category, those things can position you more like an admin, more as somebody who's trying to strong arm and to coerce teachers and to, there's another word for that that's just blanking on me for a second. You'll give it to me in a minute. But anyway, this comes from sometimes you being positioned wrong. And the true intent of coaching is for you to be a partner who is a true peer, but often you're being positioned in oversight. And I know Dawn made this comment. You help people enforce a certain set of rules for your preschools, right? And so you're being positioned as someone who is an authority figure who is telling them what to do. And when you are positioned like that as a coach, it is very hard to help them see you for who you desire to be in your heart. And that's another piece of like coming back over to calling and remembering why you're doing what you're doing, because you have to continue to tell people your true intent, because they only see the external part. They only see that you're being positioned and told them in telling them what to do. But that's not who you're trying to be. And that's not what you came out of the classroom to do. And you're being kind of positioned that way. And so you have to sometimes talk to them about the teachers about like, look, I just want you to know this is where I'm coming from. And I have no authority in this situation. Even though they've put me in this position, I actually don't have this authority. And so those types of conversations can be really hard. Oh, hello, Jenny Duke. How are you, dear friend? I'm so glad you got to hop on tonight. You could probably be up here with me telling all of these stories. Many full-time coaches are used as evaluators. I solve a lot of behavior problems. This is exactly what my heart needed to hear. Oh, I'm so good. I'm so glad, Chrissy. So, okay, so let's get into the next phase, okay? Because somehow, some way, you are in the working phase, and you are the other thing I did with these words, as you've noticed, is calling, stepping, working. This ing it's not going away. The calling doesn't go away. The step of faith doesn't go away because you basically have to remake it every morning to get up and go to this job. And then the working doesn't go away. You have to get in there and do the work. You have to work with teachers. You have to love on teachers. You have to serve teachers every day, even when it's hard. And that's the working part of this work. But you don't have to do it alone, because if you were called by an amazing creator, he's obviously going to equip you and help you. And if you're seeking him in it, you will be able to get the guidance and wisdom that you need. It says in 2 Timothy, I believe, that God is the one who changes hearts. And that has been so helpful for me in the hard part of working, is knowing that I actually don't have the power to change anybody's heart or anybody's ability to make decisions, and I can't control them, but I get to partner with the one who does. And so that work to me has become a very prayerful work of working through, how am I going to go into a conversation? How am I going to make sure that I'm being my best servant self for this teacher today? And that's the working part. And then that leads me to the next piece, which is the transforming part. So when you are working and you start to work in partnership with the Lord, but also on yourself and self-reflecting on who you want to be and the calling that you were given, you start to transform. And this is a transformation of the mind, friends. It is something that happens over an extended period of time. And this calling thing, we talked about, it is not a short term. This is not short term. Like calling to a new career, it means we've got to invest in it. And this transformation for me was a lot about learning. It started actually with finding one teacher who would work with me. And my friend Jenny Duke would also be able to speak to this story. But the one teacher who would work with me, who I could actually get in with and start working with her, that was when I realized that, oh my goodness, this is so the work I want to do. If I get to do the work that I get to do with this one runner teacher, with other teachers, then I know that I will get to do the work. And so when I'm being pulled in these directions, or I'm getting a lot of resistance, recentering back around the teachers who are the ones who are open to coaching and who are willing to accept coaching, those are the ones who can help you transform to see, like, I'm doing the work, but now I'm starting to become the type of coach that I want to be. And there's a deep dive work into personality and self-awareness and social intelligence, emotional intelligence. All of those things are a part of this work. And even though just as a teacher, again, you were able to do some of these things without this level of transformation, but you have to kind of take on a new you. You have to start turning into a you that is a better coach, because you have thought about who you want to be as a coach and how you want to come into the work. And that's something that I've done a lot of work with the Enneagram around. And so I'm going to tell you all a little bit more about that at the end. But the Enneagram is just one of many personality tests that has helped me with doing this deep dive work of transforming and realizing that, like, this bigger impact that I want to make, I have to work at becoming the person that I want to be. And so all this kind of happened when at the school I was at, there was some change. So I was doing academic tech coach, and they asked me to take on a position of like department chair of instructional coaches. And we started an instructional coaching program, which was amazing. I mean, so thrilled to be starting this instructional coaching program. And me and a team of coaches came together, and we designed a coaching program, and we started and launched it from the ground up. So many of you send me messages. You're like, I'm just building the plane while I'm flying it. Like, I built that plane, friends. I'm not saying I've totally finished it, but we did that work. And so that work really came out of the work that we were able to do together of defining what coaching is, understanding it, and then bringing that back to the admin team and saying, like, this is what this is supposed to be. Can we tweak this? Can we change this so that we can get it to be a true coaching role? And so we had another hard time in this situation where we kind of had a toxic administrator that was really hard. And I tell you that because I feel like a lot of you are dealing with that. I've heard it from so many of you. And this idea of having a toxic administrator or a tough administration to work with, just adds this another layer of like, this work is so hard. And the way to get through that, again, the only way I could get through that, again, I had no ability to control anything. The admin situation was toxic, and we were trying to build this coaching program, and it was so hard to get it moving. And that was very, very difficult. And so the only thing I could do, friends, was to turn again to the Lord, to ask him for guidance and for wisdom. And where I found myself was in Psalm 37. And if that, I don't have a slide for that, but Psalm 37 is the one that I'm going to send you to if you are dealing with toxicness at your school. Because it is the one that tells you that you cannot be anxious about anything, and that instead you have to trust the Lord, and that you have to realize that he is going to take care of the things that need to be taken care of. He is going to give justice to the wicked, and that you are going to trust him and commit your ways to him, and he will lead you down the right paths. And that is how he takes you through calling. And so in my journey, I ran into that too, like not just resistant teachers, but tough admin and these different pieces that really led me just to be like on my knees of figuring out how I was going to go into this, because I knew this was my calling. If you keep hitting a wall, but you're not losing sight of calling, and you're not feeling like, and you're feeling like, I know I should still be doing this. Why is it so hard? That's still your calling. It's coming out in you. And you have to continue to be like, okay, so it must not be me necessarily. It must be that I have more work to do. I have more ways I need to grow so that I can become the best coach that I can be. And so I was ready to quit at that point. I mean, definitely, but I wasn't ready to give up on coaching because I knew that was my work. And I truly had to go through that transformation. And I had to agree. I had to come to a place where coaching was my calling, and I had to agree with that. I had to say, this is where I'm staying. This is what I'm doing. And if you don't feel that, and it ends up being that this doesn't feel like a fit for you, don't hear me wrong. That's okay. But for those of you who are out there who are like, yes, this is for me, but my situation is not working, then you have the opportunity to continue to refine yourself so that you can continue to do the work that you're called to do. And you can have a really toxic situation, which I've been in. I've had all these different types of administrators and all the different types, the ones who are not involved, the ones who are micromanaging, the ones who are directing me in the wrong directions. Like, I've had every different kind of administrator. I've worked at 4 different schools. I can't even count the principals. I think it's something like 16 principals, because I've been a district level coach. I've been a building level coach. I've been a tech coach. And then I've had academic deans, and I've had I've had all of that. And it's something where, like, it doesn't necessarily change if you go to a different school, but you are the thing that you can control. Of all the things that you can't control, you are the thing that you can control. And so that is the transforming. But then God led us down another path that took us to, my family and I, to Florida. And that was a whole new calling. It was a whole new calling that took us to the next step, to the next step. And as soon as we got there, we knew right away that there was an element of like, this is not going to work out. Like, there was an element of, we just uprooted our whole family from Georgia to Florida, and I'm pretty sure that this school is not going to be a place where we can stay. It was a completely different environment. There were so many different pieces of resistance. It was just really, really hard there. And I'm like, but I know we were called to go. I know we were supposed to go. And that's when God revealed to me the last piece of this calling cycle, is that it's one thing to be called. It's another thing to step out. It's another thing to do the work, and then the transformation. But that's not enough. It's not enough, but there is more. And that is that you have the opportunity to take all the things that you've learned on your journey to follow your calling and turn around and start witnessing to others about the work that you have been given and how you've gone through this journey. And this is when I went to Florida, is when I started the NewtoCoaching group. And when I started this community because I wasn't thinking to myself, I'm going to go witness my calling. I'm going to share no, I just knew that I needed to connect with other coaches. And I knew that online was my jam. I've always had online as my jam. And so I was like, let's just get connected. Let's just start. And then I started hearing questions from coaches. And they were questions that I don't know every answer, but I knew the answer to that one. Let me see if I can answer that question. Let me see if I can answer that question because this new coach doesn't know that yet. I'll help with that. I started turning around and being able to share what I learned with you. And that is how I am now 10 years down this road, looking back going, it was so hard that first year. It was so hard that I wanted to quit. It was so hard. And I didn't want to, I wasn't sure if I should do it. And I doubted my calling. And I wasn't sure if this was the decision we were supposed to make. And all of it. I just wasn't sure. And now I'm looking at 10 years later going, this wasn't really about me at all. It was really about you. It was really about getting an opportunity to share with you what you need to know when you step into this new role, friends, and the opportunity to witness to you, not just about my faith, but also about the fact that this work is worth doing, friends. This is not something you should give up on. It is hard, but people work that is about helping people is absolutely and completely the work that you have here on earth. You can't leave anything else behind, friends. You can't leave anything behind when you leave, but you can leave the impact that you left on another person. I'm going to take some coffee now while you guys tell me your sweet stuff. So I want you to just hear from me that your journey is just starting, but it has blessing on the other side of it. Coffee? Anyone? Let's get that smile in there so we stop crying. Okay, let's hear what you got to say. Okay, those are the ones coaching is most effective also. They want to grow. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your encouragement. What does Tara say? Yes, an extension of admin. It makes relationship building and trust building so much harder. So, okay, friends. So this is my message for you. And here's what I want to just continue to share with you because I have a little bit more. Sometimes we just forget stuff, okay? And I'm going to try and help you remember, all right? So this is where the notes could come out, all right? If you haven't already written down my process. Okay, inquiring minds to know, where'd you get the mug? Guess what? Custom designed for the Breakthrough Circle Retreat, which is my group coaching program. But I have a little online shop and I'll be adding some new mugs to it. So if you're interested in a mug, I'm just getting that up and running. It's a NewtoCoaching online store with some designs done and designed by NewtoCoaching members. So cool. So I'll get those shared up with you maybe this week, since I guess it's time for people to buy presents. Okay. Thank you for sharing your journey. This has totally helped me. Okay, good. I know that it's helping for you. Okay, good. You love the mug. Well, good. I'm going to figure out how to get it in your hands. Okay, so sometimes these are the things you might forget. All right, this is what you might want to write down if you want to write something down. These are your don't forgets. Well, these are the things you do forget, and then I'm going to tell you what you should do instead. All right, you forgot how hard the first year of anything is, much less think back to your first year of teaching. Friends, my first year of teaching was a struggle, and I still feel guilt over sweet Jake Johnston, who did not get my best that year. He did not. And I know you have that one kid that didn't get your best, right? Okay, so you forgot that even your teaching first year was terrible and so hard. And how much time it takes to transition. You forgot that because we thought that transitioning was just a summer. No, you're transitioning like your life. And I know many of you are like, I still have young kids, but even when I was moving to my first position, I had babies. I had Cooper was 3 and Chance was 8 months old when I moved into coaching. And now I have a 10 and a 13-year-old, which, by the way, that's freaky scary. So anyway, they were babies. And so you are uprooting your life for this. So this is not just a small transition. This is a big transition, and it's going to take time. You forgot how much time it takes to see change in general around schools. Initiatives in schools take 3 to 5 years at the very least to be effective or even measurable. So like, let's just talk about a curriculum implementation or something, like 3 to 5 years, friends. But and so a coaching program, I always say, is 3 to 5 years to get up and running. Like, you might get some momentum on year 3, and that is not something to be discouraged about. It's something to go, okay, this is the work. This is the work. I know I need to be doing this work. And every day I'm building relationships and I'm getting closer to doing the work, and I'm finding the runners who I'm going to work with, who I'm going to see progress with, and I'm going to keep building relationships with the ones who hate me, and I'll keep going because they might break through. And Michelle Rui, who is here, has a story about how she has poured into some teachers for 3 years and finally they came around. Okay. It is possible. So, okay, you forgot about that. And you forgot about the process that happens. And I mean, God is the great gardener, friends, and he works in seasons and he works in gardens. And so when you think about a seed being planted, you have to remember that it's going into the ground. It's going into the dark ground where it has to be buried first, die, have a tough time, and then life comes out of that. And out of that, it takes a long time for a seed to grow. And then for a seed to, become what it's supposed to become, it may take even longer. I was watching this show with my husband the other day, and it was just a random show about Georgia and the mountains and the trees. And they were talking about the forestry as an industry and how the trees that were being cut down and then they were being used for all of this wonderful building stuff and all these great things. They were talking about, y'all, how it took 25 years to grow a crop of trees. And these tree farmers have a family legacy that has been like, grandfather to grandfather to grandfather. And it takes 25 years to grow one crop of the trees that they were cutting down. So they showed the trees they were cutting down that had just reached the point where they were 25 years in and were ready to cut down. Like, y'all, could you imagine investing in a tree farmer work and having to take trees from 0 to 25 years? Okay, it just blew my mind. All right, I'm gonna stop. But the point is that it takes a long time to grow something, and sometimes you have to grow it to a point where it is fully mature before it can be used for the next thing. And so you have to grow. You are being grown through the process of doing the work of the calling. And there is work, like you are equipped to do the work, but you're also being equipped. So in the equipping is the working. It's all happening in one thing. Okay. And then the other thing that we forget to do, we forget to trust the call on our life. So we forget about the calling for a minute and we get so sucked into the whirlwind of the crazy. And this is why I wanted to do this now and tonight, because if you're going into break, and I want you to go into break with this on your heart. I want you to think about this when everything is away from you and you're able to step away from school for a few minutes and really get some clear-headedness and be like, look, it's crazy over there, but it's not crazier than my calling. And I've got work to do. And I know I'm where I'm supposed to be because God put me here. And that means that I got to keep doing his work. And it also means that he's at work and I'm at work and we're working together. And I better seek him about this because he brought me here. And he's not going to bring me to my knees unless he wants me to come to him. And so trust in the caller and the plan and that he's equipping you. Okay. So I don't want you to strive to work it out yourself. I don't want you to strive to prove your worth. Your worth is not in your career. And I know that you want to be seen as someone who does well. And I respect that so much in you as being the person that you are. I also want you to know, like, that's not where you can find your worth. Even though you need, you want to do your job well. I want you to do your job well, but it can't be the only way that we're measuring whether or not your worth is there. We just can't do it that way. And you have to make sure that you have a way to measure your success that is beyond maybe what somebody else is telling you. Are you doing your calling every day? That's your measure of success. And then we strive to fix and control and save. Don't strive to fix and control and save. That is when you will become exhausted with this work, friends. You can't fix teachers. You can't control teachers. And if you try and go in and save them, you're just going to create victims. And we can talk a lot more about your specific situation and what you need to do instead. But those are things that we try to do when we try and solve it ourselves. And we can't try and solve it ourselves. And so a couple of things that we can do instead of these things that we were just talking about. We can serve our teachers. We need to serve our teachers and try to be mindful of the people that are in front of us. Build people and people relationships. Build relationships with people, because the people who are in front of you are the people that matter. You are there so that you can be with them and help them. That's what you're there for. And if somebody is telling you different, then I want you to come back to your calling and remember why you're there, because somebody's probably got you a little bit off target. I want you to imagine a target. I don't have an image for this, but just imagine a target and an arrow, right? And then in the center of the target is where you want that arrow to be. The center of the target is coaching, specifically one-on-one coaching with teachers. You know, there's all sorts of coaching options, but one-on-one is the most impactful, and it's where you're going to see the most ability to see growth and change in a teacher. And so if someone is pulling your arrow and putting you at the target and they keep landing you on the outside rim somewhere, okay, somewhere like PLC management or RTI or admin duties or testing coordinator, or wherever you seem to be landing on the outside of that, I want you to catch yourself and go, okay, I know I might have to do this because they asked me to, but how can I get closer to the target? How can I get closer to the target today? Because today I want to be coaching a teacher. And if I'm coaching a teacher who wants me to coach her, let's go with that, make sure she's a willing teacher, then I'll be doing my calling today. And I'll be able to go and make that impact today. And I promise you, friends, if you haven't had the opportunity to do that yet because you're that new, if you do, you will sit there and you will say, this is what I was supposed to do. This is what I was supposed to do. This 30-minute conversation with this one teacher, this is what I'm supposed to do. And when you are not feeling like that, it's because we haven't gotten to the people work of the coaching. The coaching work is about sitting across from someone and being their person for that time. You're going to listen to them. You're going to encourage them. You're going to be their partner, and you guys are going to achieve something together. And if those things are happening, you are going to feel it in a deep way, because that calling that you had to come out of the classroom has purpose. And you'll be able to work with her on something that you know is going to impact student learning. Like, this is not like, I'm not sure if this is going to help anybody. This is going to change her classroom. When I worked my one runner teacher at the very beginning of my coaching, and I found her and she wanted to work with me on something, she wanted to flip her classroom. And it completely transformed everything she was doing, that I got to work with her on that project. We were doing so much more formative assessment. We were doing so much more data tracking of their learning. Just by putting this piece in place, we were changing how we were tracking student learning. And then therefore she was adjusting how she was teaching. And then we were teaching kids better because we were doing this together. And it was the most exciting work for me, and all of the work I've gotten to do with other teachers since. But I just remember why it was so wonderful to work with her. It was because I knew we were impacting students and student learning when I got to go and hang out with this teacher. And so it is such a win. So you're going and you're looking for places where you can be closer to the target, because if you're being told to go off target, okay, sometimes we can't control that we're being asked to do something. But when you have the ability to choose, how can you get back to center and remember the work that you should be doing, which is the work of encouraging and supporting teachers. And don't give up on your resistant ones just yet. They sometimes come around. I know they're hostile. It's not you. Give them a chance. Okay, of all the work friends, we get to work with God. Why have I never thought about this partnership? Jenna, this one might have been just for you, dear friend. I am so glad you were here tonight. God is whispering our conversation to you. He knew that I needed to hear this. I promise you he did. And I don't mean to be weird, but this is from him, and now it's for you. And so if you're feeling this deep in your heart, it's because it actually is for you. I can't change and control teachers. I'm there to help. I needed to hear this. Okay, friends. This message is for you. Okay, keep working. I do have some more. I have, what do I think I have another verse. Do you want another verse? Are you guys liking these? I pulled a couple others. Do you want to see this one? Okay. I know you've heard this one 100 times, but I bet you're going to see it differently this time. Okay. And we know that God causes everything to work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. This one is often used for that first part of the verse, right? God causes everything to work together for the good. Everything's going to be good. That is a great purpose for this verse. But read the rest of it. Who does he have it orchestrated for? For those who love him and are called according to the purpose that he gave you, which is your calling. And so it is true. He is working things together for good. And it's because he called you and you answered and you said yes and you stepped out in faith. And so now you have purpose and work to do with him. And so those of you who are feeling like this was important. Okay, this was the Galatians one. I can't leave you without giving you this one. This one has been so encouraging to me. Read the whole thing. Go read all of Galatians 6. But it says, let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. And I think this is the thing that you might not be able to see yet. It's not that you forgot it because you don't even know it's happening. But God talks a lot about in the gardening idea that there is a harvest on the other side. And what I have seen in the process of calling, going from calling to stepping to working to transforming, is witnessing. Witnessing is a huge part of this work. And you can't get to that part until you've done the work for a little longer. But there is something on the other side. There's someone who needs to hear your story, just like you need to hear my story tonight. There's someone who needs to hear yours. And so the witnessing and the harvest are coming. They are worth the work, but it also is a work. a shovel, a digging, a planting, a hard elbow type of work. And if we can just stay focused on our calling, then we won't lose track. We won't lose it. We'll know that we can keep doing it because it's big work. And y'all, I'm preaching to myself some days. I mean, some days I struggle. Some days I just want to hang out with you guys and I don't want to have to go to work. I'll just do NewtoCoaching all the time, right? But there are teachers, then I get in the door and there are teachers who need something, and not just because they need me, but it's like that one, I helped her today. I was able to meet with her and help her with something today. And that was when I go, okay, all right, okay, it was worth it. I didn't want to get up out of bed. I know you didn't want to get up out of bed. But everybody needs a good Thanksgiving break. Okay. So everyone needs to have that. Okay. Don't go because I want to hear more about what was most useful for you. Okay. You tell me what was most useful for you. And then I just want to tell you about how moving forward we can work together and I can continue to encourage you because this is so on my heart. And if this is something that you need more encouragement around, like, girl, I'm there with you. I want to be your person. What a message. God is using you as a vessel. I can't even read it. Thank you. You made me cry. Thank you for emphasizing the calling part. The congregation helps me so much. Good. I needed this so much tonight. Thank you for saying the exact word that I needed to hear. Trisha, I'm so glad you were here tonight. I promise you it was for you. If you're feeling like this was for you, then I promise you it was. Yes. What was fulfilling to your calling? Oh, I'm so thankful. Yes. And coaching is a calling and therefore it's ordered my steps. Thank you. You're so welcome. Okay. Don't go yet because I just want you to know how we can work together. So as a part of this calling of when I was telling you that I started witnessing, God also showed me that I have an amazing community here that needs some coaching and needs some support. And he asked me to go ahead and step out in faith and start the Breakthrough Circle, which is my group coaching / mastermind group where I offer one-on-one coaching to you, my new coaches who need some support and some help. And I have, through the work I've done over the past 4 years here in this group, I've made all of these online courses, and I have all of these videos, and I've gone live, and I've done all these things. And so I have tons of stuff I can, give you videos to watch. But there's nothing like having somebody to talk to, friends. Like if you, me and you and the cup of coffee are hanging out right now, then this can be something we can do much more regularly. So I offer one-on-one coaching in the Breakthrough Circle, which is my group coaching program and mastermind. My friend Temple, see if I can make this one bigger, joined last January, not this past, yes, this past January. So a year ago, she joined. And she came to our in-person Breakthrough Circle retreat. We do an in-person retreat in June. It'll be our third one this year. And so this is a virtual online community, except in June when we get together. And so she came to that, and so when she first came out in January, she was moving mid-year from the 5th grade classroom into a coaching position, and it totally threw her. And she and I have had so many one-on-one conversations through her process. Plus she's talked to the group, and there has been so much growth in her. And even this year, she is still like, I'm not sure I know what I'm doing, but I'm still going. And there are so many moments when you just need somebody. And she said, I joined in January. I give a lot of credit to Allison and the members for helping me navigate the lost and lonely phase. That's why I'm still a coach in August. She wasn't sure if she was going to keep going with this thing, and she decided to stay. The Breakthrough Circle has made a huge difference for me. So, this is Temple. I don't think she's here tonight. I didn't see her on there. And then Michelle Rui, though, is here tonight. So she's going to get a shout out if I can get my screen to turn. There she is. She's going to hate me for this picture. But Michelle Rui and I have been together for almost 3 years now. Come January, it'll be 3 years. And she has been a part of the group, and absolutely an amazing transformation process happened. Like everything I just talked through, all the things that we were talking through, all that happened with Michelle as well. And she has the best stories of working and trusting that doing the work with teachers was going to happen, and that she has had so many breakthroughs with teachers 3 years down the road in this work because of the work we've done together of realizing like we got to keep going. And we've done Enneagram personality typing work together, and she has learned a lot about her personality type, which has helped her to really transform into the Make Change Happen coach. And she says on here, no amount of blogs or books or seminars could have done for me what this group has done. I still have a whole lot to learn, but I've become so much more confident in the direction that I'm going each day and every day because of the foundation and support and advice Allison and all the incredible coaching Breakthrough Circle coaching members provide. The group provides the how. And she says, you have no idea how incredible this group is. And she's grown leaps and bounds in just a few months. So this is the type of work that I love doing with new coaches. And here she is live on the call. Yes, you need to be a part of this mastermind group. You will be completely transformed. And it's not me necessarily that will be transforming you, but the work that we will do together. And if you are here and hearing that this is a message from the Lord, like there is some deep spiritual work that can be done in seeking more depth in your personality and what he has for you in your calling. And I would absolutely love to guide you in some of that, because he has shown me some of it, and I can just show you what he showed me. I can just witness to you about what he showed me in my dark times. I can show you, and then you can end up going back to him and getting the guidance that you need. So if you are interested in working with me more closely, because you are feeling like, hey, this message might be a little bit for me, and I think that I might need to take a step of faith of getting some support along the way. I do in the Breakthrough Circle, I have one-on-one coaching opportunities, so you can sign up for calls with me. I do 2 live calls a month, and those are kind of topical. So right now we're working on personality typing, and we're going to be deep diving into the Enneagram. I have an Enneagram masterclass that I've already taught. That's these, videos that are ready for you to watch to start learning about that. And then I'll get on a call with you, and we will do an Enneagram like coaching call where we'll talk about your personality. And that if you're not familiar with the Enneagram, just know that it will be a very revealing experience, and it will help guide you towards some of the things that you can work on in your transformation of becoming a Make Change Happen coach. And so that work is what we're about to start. So we are going to get started on that. We've already kind of this is like the kickoff kind of, this is where we're going to get started with that. And then we're going to move into talking about all the different types of personality typing that you can look at to do some self-reflective work. Right now is the best time to do this work because if you've never been a coach before, you don't know, but coaching slows down right now. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's like basically like you sitting in your office wondering if anyone knows you're even here today. And I hope that you have a little bit more activity than I do. But this last week, right before school was out, I'm not going to lie, I was like, I think I could leave and no one would even know. I had that moment. And it's just that everyone's so busy doing everything with students. And I'm not necessarily. And there's nothing for me to do to help. And so this is a really good time. Like when you have the free space of Thanksgiving break and Christmas break and these breaks to read a book and be reflective and get on a coaching call and do some work and some talking and talk to some amazing other coaches in the Breakthrough Circle, I think you'll really, really benefit from it. And the ladies who have been a part of the work with me before will tell you that they have absolutely been transformed through it. Even if you already know your Enneagram number and you're like, Allison, I already know that. First of all, I want to know. If you already know your Enneagram number, I got to know. But what I have found with Enneagram is that I revisit it every year and God reveals more and more and more. And if somebody has told you that the Enneagram is not a Christian thing, and just FYI, I have some books to point your way so that you can see the ones that are that absolutely do align it with faith. So Better You Better Coach is that is what that's called. We're going to be doing this from it says November 30th, but really from today until January 4th. It's a deep dive into self-awareness through personality study and personalized coaching. And that personalized coaching is with me. So you get to have one-on-one calls with me. We'll start it off by a welcome call into the group where I get to know you a little bit. And then from there on, we'll schedule like an Enneagram call and we will have, 3 or 4 calls over this break so that you can, not this particular break, but over this time so that you and I can really do some deep work together. I have really structured it to be this way because the one-on-one work right now I feel like is the most powerful and it's the work that I feel called to do, which is be with you one-on-one and help you with the things that you're faced with. If you are like, but Allison, I just need a coaching, like I need to learn about coaching some more. Well, come on in because I've got all the resources for you if you want to learn more about coaching and how to coach. That is all in there as well. We are just kind of taking this turn towards personality typing right now, but I will hear your story and I'll be able to point you to all the resources available in the Breakthrough Circle and let you know like right where you need to be started. So I would love to invite you to join me. And the Breakthrough Circle link is somewhere over here. Okay, so it's an easy one to find. If you just go to newtocoaching.info and then /breakthrough, you'll find the website. The price on there is a monthly membership price, but there is also it's including a 7-day free trial. So if you are thinking about it, but you're just not sure, you can just sign up and it won't charge you for the first 7 days and you can get on a call with me and you and I can talk through it and you can decide before you commit. So I made it that way on purpose because I know that it's kind of a big commitment. And so I want you to say, okay, I'm not sure about this, but I'm going to at least sign up so I can get on a call with Allison. And then we'll chat and we'll see how you feel about it. And I'll tell you more about how it would fit for you. And then you can decide if you want to come into the group. And so this work is powerful. It is life-changing. There is no other word than transformational. I hope you have heard in tonight's story that I genuinely have a heart for you. And my story is a lot like your story. And and that my goal is truly to just share what I've learned on this journey with you because I don't want you to give up. I really don't, because I believe that you were called. And I know it because I was you. And I struggled through all the things. I'm just a little bit ahead of you. I'm just on year 10 and you're on year 1. And that's okay. But that's why I got to be on year 10 so that I can help you with year 1. Okay, friends? So if you're interested, pop over here or send me a DM. I would love to connect with you and hear a little bit more about your story. If you want me to DM you, just drop me a learn more in the comments and I'll follow up with you. I'll probably follow up with you anyway. If you were here live and you dropped a comment, I will love to chat with you and hear more about how this hit your heart. And I just want to tell you that this was for you. I felt so strongly that I was supposed to do this session. And I clearly had some words brought to me for it. So I know that if you felt like this is for you, then I want it to be a gift to you. I truly want you to be gifted by this message. And maybe if you need to, you can go back and watch it again. Okay. Because it'll be available for you here in the NewtoCoaching group, and you can watch it again. And you can reach out to me, and there is nothing that makes me happier than to encourage you, friends. Okay. So I hope you have a fabulous night, and I love you so much. And you are not alone. Look, there it is. My takeaway: I am not alone. I am partnering with teachers and the Lord. Yes. Okay, good. That is what I wanted you to hear, needed you to hear. Okay. Love you, friends. See you in the comments.